year 3 of our marriage, Wendy's first love came back to town. She got invited to his welcome dinner. Someone asked if she still had feelings for him. She swirled her wine glass and gave a cold chuckle. Feelings? Who's got feelings for him? But that night, I heard her drunkenly mumbling his name in her sleep. Turns out, hate can last longer than love. She kept him captive, humiliating him daily. Then she handed me a divorce agreement. Justin, I need to spend my life with him. Can you understand that? Seeing her tired eyes, I finally let go and signed the papers. But later, I heard she went crazy, holding our marriage certificate to prove we weren't divorced. On our 3rd anniversary, I had our housekeeper make a lot of food. I carried a homemade cake home. Wendy said she'd be back early and even promised me a gift. 3 years in, and she's still as thoughtful as when we first started dating. The housekeeper had left, and the food was warm on the table. I placed the cake in the center and took out a gift I picked out. A pair of cufflinks, rose-patterned, shining bright like Wendy herself. In any crowd, she stands out. The clock moved from 6 to 8, then all the way to 12. I checked the door several times, but her familiar figure didn't show. My messages disappeared into a void with no reply. Then I saw her on a friend's social media post, a video clip where Wendy briefly appeared. She sat on a sofa, legs crossed, wearing the outfit I'd helped her pick that morning. Her features seemed to glow with a vengeful light. The club lighting swayed, exuding an aura of temptation. She looked relaxed, but I knew she was just playing with her drink because she was nervous. The video ended and that man came into view. I couldn't place him at first, but then it hit me, Sam. The only guy who ever dumped Wendy, her first love from long ago. I'd heard their story once while someone was drunk at our wedding. Wendy had been on the brink of bankruptcy, and Sam had taken the last bit of money and gone abroad, leaving her to face the creditors. Wendy, if he knew how successful you are now, wouldn't he be dying of regret? Wendy's face turned grim, and she stayed that way until the wedding was over. We met on a blind date, and everything with Wendy had always gone smoothly until that moment. I couldn't help but ask about it later. She threw her glass to the ground, shattering it. Justin, don't ever bring him up again. She apologized the next day, blaming the alcohol for her actions and words. I understood that Sam was her sore spot, though I wasn't sure if she loved or hated him. It confirmed an innermost part of her heart was reserved for Sam. The video and its suggestive caption proved it. Guess who couldn't wait after work to see someone who's back in town? I chuckled, slowly eating a piece of each cold dish on the table. Then I lit candles. In the dim light, everything around me faded, but the heat on my face spread, flushing my eyes. Happy anniversary, I whispered and blew out the candles. The moon was bright, flooding through the big windows. I finished the cake in the night's glow, wincing at its bitterness. Cakes only stay fresh for a few hours, it tasted awful now. I tossed the cufflinks gift into the trash and went to bed, as if the evening never happened. Wendy? Who's that? Wendy must have come home sometime in the night because she was in the kitchen when I woke up. Go figure. Her bankruptcy made her self-sufficient, and she mostly kept our home tidy. Awake? She asked, like nothing happened, now clean and dressed casually. I watched her running around and asked, "Where'd you go last night?" She paused, then answered naturally, "A client dinner came up. I forgot to tell you." She brushed water off her hands and turned to face me. "Waited long?" "Huh? My bad. Let's go out tonight. I'll make it up to you." She sounded like she was apologizing, but her eyes didn't show it, as if talking about the weather. I had no say in it. I couldn't even muster the energy to argue or be mad. The one who falls in love first often gives in. I had fallen for Wendy, so surrendering was my norm. But now, suddenly, I felt like resisting. I just nodded with indifference. "All right, send me the address later." Wendy stopped me. "I'll pick you up after work." I paused, said nothing, and merely nodded. Unlike Wendy, who was a big boss, I work at a publishing company. The world of words calms me down, like today. By the time I finished everything, it was past quitting time. My coworkers gave me sly smiles and left snickering. Wendy had sent flowers to the office earlier, so everyone knew it was our anniversary. I packed up and waited for her to pick me up. She'd reminded me in the morning to wait at the office so we could go to dinner together. Then, unexpectedly, it started pouring rain. Without a car, I stayed in the office. "Are you on your way? It's raining, drive straight to the basement when you get here," I messaged. Silence. Thinking she might be in a meeting, I picked up a book. The rain kept falling, and I checked my phone. Still nothing. A coworker asked, "Justin, your wife's not here yet? It's almost 7. I tried to suppress the restlessness in my chest and said as understandingly as possible, "Maybe something came up suddenly at the company. I'll just wait a bit longer." He sighed, "You really have a good temper." I knew as much but couldn't bring myself to say anything. Instead, I just curved my lips slightly to pretend like I didn't care. For some reason, I suddenly thought of Sam. On a whim, I opened a social app one hadn't logged into for a long time. Then, I slowly typed in Wendy's name. Unexpectedly, a trending local video caught my eye first. On a sycamore-lined street washed by the rain, fallen leaves scattered everywhere. A man in a white shirt stood out, his long hair wet but still striking. There was an air of fragility to him that was almost pitiful. He stood by a luxury car, holding himself tightly. The person filming said he had been standing there for minutes, unsure of what he was doing. Finally, the car door opened, and I caught a glimpse of someone inside. Long, elegant fingers stretched out from the car with a coldness to them. Her side profile was sharp and cool, and even with her eyes cast down, there was an unmistakable sense of pride. She looked like a queen who had descended from the sky. Even in a fit, she reluctantly took her favorite man into the car. With a bit of force, he stumbled into the back seat. And then the video ended. Only the howling wind and cold, stinging rain dripped onto the lens. I silently saved the video. A few minutes later, the video was taken down everywhere, and it even vanished from the trending topics. Wendy's company PR was as effective as ever. I put away my phone and got ready to head home on my own. A colleague cast a curious glance my way but didn't ask anything. Everyone tacitly maintained a facade of peace, though it seemed they vaguely knew something. I knew they meant no harm, yet those gazes clung like shadows. Even after getting into the car, I couldn't help but clutch my head. The headache was fierce. The car's warm air clashed with the outside wind, causing me to sneeze unexpectedly. The driver, a middle-aged man, heard this and thoughtfully lowered the temperature. "The temperature difference is harsh," he said. "Maybe wipe your face first." He handed me a tissue at the stoplight. "Thanks," I muttered, pressing the tissue to my face. He smiled kindly, the wrinkles at his eyes gentle and warm. Once I'd wiped away the traces from my eyes, I looked at the passing scenery outside. That's when Wendy texted me, updating me on her plans. "Justin, something came up that I can't leave. I've sent the driver to get you. The gift is already at the restaurant. Could you pick it up yourself?" I was silent for a moment before finally asking, "Where are you?" "Anyway?" She seemed a bit irritable, her voice growing impatient. "You never used to ask that. What's going on?" The air felt thick for a moment. Only the static of the call filled the gap. After a pause, her tone shifted. "A friend's got a fever. I'm with him while he gets in 4. The driver will take you to the restaurant, and you don't need to worry about anything. Just eat and head home." She had no idea I was aware Sam had returned, that she still took me for a fool. Maybe it was being caught in the rain, but I shivered violently. "Sir, are you catching a cold?" the driver asked suddenly. Wendy's voice on the other end sharpened, asking, "Where are you?" "In the car," I replied coolly. She relaxed. "If you're already at home, that's fine. I'll have someone bring the gift back." Listening to her indifferent tone, it dawned on me that I might have been too accommodating in this relationship. Not wanting to continue the conversation, I abruptly ended the call, then stared gloomily out the window, the headache pounding harder. Wendy had often ignored how I felt. Initially, I'd grown used to it. She was a successful person in everyone's eyes, always in meetings or traveling. But as long as she was in town, she'd still come home for dinner. On holidays and anniversaries, gifts and flowers were never in short supply. Many envied my seemingly perfect life, Now it seemed that illusion was bound to break, shattered by her own hands. I hadn't mentioned the video, nor did she, but her time at home was shrinking, and even her shirts carried lingering scents not my own. Sometimes there were bite marks on her neck. I had prepared myself and pretended not to see, keeping up appearances as a loving couple, while waiting for her to ask for a divorce. She loved Sam too much to let him stay insignificant. Meanwhile, I resolved to use this time to wean myself off her love. I had loved her for so long I sometimes forgot she might not feel the same. A month after our anniversary, we were invited to a friend's wedding. At the party, Sam showed up wearing a striking pink suit, instantly becoming the center of attention. The groom seemed displeased but faked politeness, talking to him, likely because Sam was a friend of the bride. "Congrats to you," he said. Despite what people said, Sam didn't seem arrogant or flamboyant. Instead, there was a timid quality to him mirroring the video I'd seen. Even in bright colors, his deep-seated lack of worth was palpable. It seemed like he was quite self-conscious. I sipped my drink, masking my interest in him. His tall frame looked crisp in the suit. Wendy's friend teasingly remarked, "Sam still has charm. I bet plenty women fancy him. Do you still have a crush on him?" Involuntarily, I glanced at Wendy. She was as composed as ever, her eyes icy. Perhaps mindful of my presence, she merely swirled her drink. A strong flash of possessiveness flickered in her eyes, which turned into a chilling smile. Crush? Who still crushes on him? We weren't far, and when she spoke, I saw Sam stiffen. His face paled as he apologized to the bride, excusing himself to the restroom. Moments later, Wendy cursed and followed him, leaving me alone at the table. I sat there indifferently, staring at the empty seat beside me, feeling something inside hollow out, leaving just a vast, gaping hole. I overheard the groom's half-angry, half-exasperated inquiry to the bride, questioning if she still carried a torch for Sam. I felt like those words were urging me to question Wendy. But I just lowered my eyes. I let out a bitter laugh. Who am I to question her? Obviously, she cares more about Sam than me. I'm just the roommate who happened to sync up with her life journey. The moment Sam showed up, I had to step aside. Maybe it was my unwillingness. I found myself unconsciously walking towards the bathroom. They were arguing in the hallway. Sam looked up at her with teary eyes, his peach blossom eyes filled with wounds. He tilted his head, his neck long and slender, like a fragile butterfly in the wind. That pink suit seemed more like a flirtatious color. I didn't know what they were arguing about, but Sam grabbed Wendy's collar, raising his voice. "Where I go, what I wear, that's my freedom. It's none of your business." He seemed really upset, his firm chest heaving. The vibe of the argument shifted suddenly. Wendy's expression darkened. She looked at him deeply. Then she grabbed his face roughly, kissing him hard. I watched quietly, as if the scene before me turned into a sharp knife, stabbing deep into my chest, twisting it until it was all bloody. I knew I should leave, that I shouldn't disgrace myself by standing there. But maybe only then could I let go of this woman completely. "Wendy, I don't want to love you anymore." I took out my phone, recorded a short video, saved it in a hidden album like last time. Now I'm waiting for the divorce papers, and how I can use this footage to get the best settlement in the divorce. "Wendy, this is as far as we'll go in this life." They kissed passionately, until after a long while, Sam finally pushed her away as if waking from a dream. "No, we shouldn't be doing this." Tears rolled down his face, showing a clear inner struggle. "This isn't fair to your husband." Wendy gave a slight laugh. "You got back on my bed the first day, and now you're telling me to stay chaste? Sam, you're still the same unscrupulous person." Sam's face turned as white as a sheet. His body started trembling. "Justin, why are you just standing there?" The groom, my buddy Bob, walked over, smiling as he tugged at my hand, looking forward, also noticing the couple hiding in the dark. Sam was the first to react, rushing over to explain to me, "It's not what you think. Wendy and I are long over." Seeing his anxious demeanor, if I weren't a man myself, I would have almost failed to recognize the satisfaction and showiness behind those tear-filled eyes. See, even if you married Wendy, so what? With just a beckon from me, she'd still come running over to me. Even on your wedding anniversary, she was with me. Compared to Sam's urgency, Wendy approached slowly, looking a bit distressed. Want to go home? I nodded, not wanting to lose my temper here. Bob prepared for this wedding for a year. I couldn't ruin his day. Reining in my emotions, I smiled at her. Let's have dinner some other time to make up for today. I'm heading out. He glanced at me with concern and nodded. Wendy tried to hold my hand, but I slapped it away. I asked in a voice only the two of us could hear. Wendy, don't you feel disgusting? Wendy's pupils shrank, breath hitched, but she said nothing, quietly leaving beside me, not sparing a glance at Sam, as if they had just had a normal conversation. No one took it seriously. I heard him cry behind us. I felt the person beside me tense up. She swallowed hard, yet forced herself to calm down. I let out a cold laugh, finding it absurd, but her composure didn't last long. After a few steps, a slap made her draw back. Turned out Bob's wife said something, going into a rage instantaneously. She's always had a fiery temper, saying whatever comes to mind. To anger her this much, I had to say Sam had some skills. Wendy almost instinctively wanted to stand up for him. I asked coldly, Wendy, do you still love him? Wendy halted her steps. She couldn't admit it. A woman's pride wouldn't allow her to bow down to the man who initially abandoned her. She would only flaunt her current power and wealth before him, proving to him the mistake in his original choice. That's how Wendy is now, forcibly ignoring Sam's gaze, turning away without mercy, leaving Sam behind in the crowd. He cried bitterly, in despair, just like before when he left Wendy without mercy, leaving her to face the nearly bankrupt company and relentless creditors alone. I have to say, Wendy's revenge succeeded. Back home, Wendy was already half drunk, squinting at me, her eyes reddened. In those dark eyes, I couldn't tell who she was seeing, but each call of Sam's name almost took half my life. I sat by the bed, aimed my phone at her. On the bed we used to lay, embracing each other, she was calling out another man's name. Our marriage didn't even last 3 years. But I never thought Wendy's revenge was just beginning. It wasn't long before Sam came to find me. Unlike our past meetings, this time he looked even more miserable. He grabbed my arm, crying in front of me. Sir, if you need anything, go find Wendy. I can't help you. No, you can help me. He finally spoke. Justin, I'm begging you, get a divorce with Wendy. What? Maybe being with Wendy for 3 years. I learned her cold smiles. Squinting a bit. Does Wendy know? Sam paused, not expecting me to bring her up so directly. He shook his head. Justin, I know you two were set up without feelings, but Wendy and I were different. I crossed my arms, looking at him with interest. How different? Sam couldn't articulate it. In the end, he could only lamely say, it's just different. Okay? There were a lot of people looking, and I didn't want to end up trending online, so I figured I should get going. Justin. Sam had finally had enough. Did you know Wendy kept me locked up? What are you talking about? Originally, I didn't want to tell you about this, but I can't keep it quiet any longer. Sam looked troubled, like it was a huge deal. His eyes turned red, and big tears started to fall. Sam's voice was shaking. The truth is, when I left, it was for another reason, but Wendy didn't trust me. So, she bought me a villa, arranged for a driver and a housekeeper, basically kept me caged in. He pointed to his suit. Everything you see on me, she bought all of it. But I can't take it anymore. Sam said this while covering his face, as if really distressed. If you don't divorce her, I will always feel guilty towards you. Hearing this, I became surprisingly calm. Sam, I think you've got something wrong. I looked at his expensive suit, the luxury watch on his wrist. Even his shoes, high-end leather that shouldn't even touch water. Wendy is using our shared marital assets on you. You better not damage any of it. If it comes to divorce court, I have the right to get it all back from you. Sam's game was obvious. He exposed the flaws intentionally, wanting me to confront Wendy in anger. If I became the resentful husband, everything would fall apart between us. I didn't want things to turn messy because of an outsider. Plus, without a better option lined up, losing my cool wouldn't work in my favor. Later that night, Wendy came home unusually early. I was surprised. "Why are you home so early? Is something up?" Wendy's expression shifted slightly. "This is my house, can't I come home without a reason?" I lowered my gaze and took a bite of my food. "I didn't mean it that way. Just, you're home early, and I didn't cook for you." She paused as she was about to sit in front of me. There were 3 dishes and a soup on the table, all my favorites. 2 even had scallions, which she hates. But she didn't mind and went into the kitchen to scoop what little rice was left into her bowl. "No worries, I don't mind." "Well, I mind." I interrupted her action. "If you're coming home, let me know in advance. It's inconvenient if you just show up." "Justin." She shouted my name, then paused, thinking about something. "Do you have the wrong idea about Sam and me?" The moment she said it, I realized she knew Sam had spoken to me. She knew exactly how seeing Sam would make me feel. She knew exactly what Sam would say to me. It was all part of what she allowed. I couldn't hold back, slammed my chopsticks down on the table. The sound seemed to carve a line of hurt into both our hearts. "Wendy, what do you take me for? A housekeeper to manage all your affairs with others?" Even though I was trying to stay composed, my chest ached. I tried to hold it all back, but the trembling wouldn't stop. My eyes filled, tears fell down. "You even let him come to my workplace. Wendy, do you think I'm that easy to push around?" Wendy seemed taken aback. Ever since Sam had come around, I hadn't shown any signs of anger. She assumed naturally that I wouldn't get mad. Not visibly furious, maybe try to ignore it. But she didn't expect me to snap over it. Wendy tried to calm me, adjusting her tone. "Justin, why are you angry? The vows we made won't change. You'll always be my husband." Her eyes locked on mine. Her words, light as a feather, fell silently. However, the cold gleam in her gaze was a reminder. My role as husband had conditions. Follow the rules, stay in line, and I kept my position as husband. Just like some men who marry into wealthy families, oblivious to everything else. As long as it doesn't disrupt their social standing, everything's negotiable. That's not me. Before even meeting Wendy, I wasn't like this. I have my career, my own social value. My family stands on even ground with the Johnstons. If I were the type to play along without a thought, would I have waited so long to reach the marriage game? But I was wrong. Wendy was no different than other women, needing a perfect husband at home, while a wild boyfriend kept things thrilling. I was the husband, Sam was the boyfriend. I shut my eyes, forcing my emotions back in check. Finally, I let out a cold laugh. "In that case, I want a child." Wendy's face changed. "What did you say?" Seeing her reaction, my smile deepened. "Didn't you promise me the role of husband? Then give me a child." Originally, Wendy and I had no plans of becoming parents soon. For starters, I wasn't ready for fatherhood. Secondly, Wendy's career kept her busy, not leaving enough time to devote to a child. But if she's going to make these promises, I can't just sit and ask for nothing. Wendy's demeanor shifted fast, playing emotions like cards. I couldn't grasp what she truly felt. Having a child would clear up things. I didn't care about her future with Sam, but she guaranteed me a promise. So, the next Johnston heir would have to be my child. Wendy didn't respond immediately, staring at me intensively. Her glance was complicated, trying to see into me, figure me out. Finally, it turned into a heavy sigh. "Justin, you weren't always like this." Hearing that, I couldn't help but chuckle myself. From falling in love blind on our first meeting to adapting through marriage. In this relationship, I've been more patient than I imagined possible. Mom always said, "Win over a woman's stomach, and you'll win her heart." Never had I cooked before, but soon enough I was in the kitchen all the time. Whenever she showed some approval, it was enough to make my day. Besides all that, I learned how to mix and match outfits. Every season's fashion show, I had a front row seat. From knowing nothing to becoming a fashion trendsetter. When Wendy got complimented on her outfits, most of them were researched by me. I'd make her hangover soup when she drank too much, and provide food therapy when her stomach hurt. Her drawers were filled with her stuff. I knew her way more than she thought I did. But what was the point of all this effort? In the end, all I got was a warning question. How did I end up like this? Honestly, I want to figure out why we're in this situation now. Before Sam came back to the country, we were the model couple in everyone's eyes. Everyone envied how caring and romantic she was with me. I was the ideal husband they all praised. Thinking about it made my temples throb. I sat down, exhausted, not wanting to argue. Maybe it was your heart that changed. Wendy stormed out. Later, just before I went to bed, she came back. There were a few love bites on her neck, probably from meeting Sam after leaving me. She looked at me a few times, then pulled out a document. I took it. It was the divorce agreement I wanted, all laid out clearly. The terms were so generous I didn't even need to bring up her cheating. Wendy sat on the sofa, lighting a cigarette. The smoke blurred her cold, beautiful face. Legs crossed, she still looked like when I first met her. Elegant and dignified. Justin, I can't agree to your request for a child. I can't let go of Sam's betrayal, so I have to tie him down for the rest of my life. Her deep gaze looked my way. You get it, right? The heavy weight in my heart finally lifted. I grabbed the unlit cigarette from her and took a deep drag, then crushed it out in the ashtray, blowing smoke in her face. I suddenly felt so free. I signed my name right next to where she already signed. Of course, my smile must have looked pretty wicked, but my tone was as gentle as can be. Wendy, I wish you two an eternity together. Her face turned sour. She looked at the text and reached for another cigarette, realizing her fingers were trembling too much to light it. Eventually, she got up abruptly. Fine then, don't regret it. The divorce went smoothly. Lawyers filed the paperwork based on the agreement. Before long, the divorce certificate was mailed to my new place. Along with it came a hefty sum of money and company dividends. Even Wendy's property was split and I got half. The 300 square meter apartment I live in now is part of that. I no longer have to get up early to make her breakfast or compromise on what to eat. After work, I can stay out late with coworkers on Fridays. I don't need to leave a light on or care if anyone comes home. Life after Wendy brought me back to the enjoyment I deserved. I even made a quick buck leveraging her former resources and assets. Seeing countless zeros in my bank account, I realized how great it feels to be rich. But soon enough, I got a call from Wendy. She phoned early in the morning. Half asleep, I didn't even check who was calling. Justin, that familiar voice snapped me awake. Silence for a moment. Where did you keep the stomach meds? I'm a little unwell. Left drawer of the TV stand. Check if it's there. I heard her shuffling around. She must have felt really bad. After taking the meds, she seemed to calm down a little. Next time, just ask the maid. Don't call me again. This isn't fair to Sam. My voice paused. I meant what I said when I wished you too well. I don't want to be caught in their drama. Not even a bit. It makes me feel uneasy. There was a brief silence. Then the call ended with a beep. This woman still as self-centered as ever. 6 months after the divorce, my career began to soar. Our company struck a deal with a big corporation out of the province. But they need someone to go on a business trip. Could be as short as 6 months or as long as 3 to 4 years. Most of my colleagues have families except for the interns. Everyone went silent when this came up in the meeting. I quietly raised my hand and said, "Why not let me go?" I was the only one who really fit the bill. The boss made a swift decision and arranged for my quick departure. They also set me up with 2 fresh grad students who were willing to join. The 3 of us headed off to this out-of-province company. Turned out the work there was pretty chill. Besides linking up with our company, there wasn't much else to do. By the time the end of the year rolled around, it hit me that I'd been at the new company for almost half a year. The company gave us a holiday leave, so I packed up to head home for the new year. Around then, my friend Bob called. His wife was pregnant, and she looked quite heavy when we met. I teased him. "How come you're dragging her out when she's this pregnant? Aren't you going to show some concern?" He didn't seem to care and started filling me in on the gossip I'd missed, especially about Wendy and Sam. Their relationship had gotten super intense over the year. Sam barely showed up anywhere without Wendy pegging him to stay home. He had to check in with her before going anywhere. And if you saw the red marks on his wrist, you'd wonder if they were from a game. Man, Wendy's not really into some heavy stuff, is she? You should see Sam, he's lost so much weight. Looks like a breeze could knock him over. I calmly ate my little cake, slightly smirking as if listening to someone else's story. If Sam wanted to, he could up and leave any time. Plus, he knew what would likely happen if he came back home, but he went for it anyway. Isn't that what he wanted? Wendy might hate him, but she loves him more. Those red marks are just part of their little game. After parting ways with Bob, I decided to walk home. The street was rich with the vibe of the new year, shop speakers drowning out my earphones' music. My parents were already off to vacation abroad. When I got home, I found a woman sitting by my door, wrapped in a thick scarf. Her lips were pale like she'd been waiting forever. I walked up, hesitantly asking, "Wendy?" Her eyes lit up when she looked up at me. I stopped, unsure why she was there. "What's up?" Wendy smiled, but it was a bit bitter. "I wanted to visit your parents. Didn't expect them to be gone." Her usual address for them almost slipped out before she quickly corrected herself under my stare. "No need for that," I said, hands in my pockets, looking at her coldly. Wendy kept smiling, but now it seemed a bit sadder. "It's like we've missed a lot in the last year and misunderstood each other," she started. I cut her off. "There's no misunderstanding, Wendy. You just aren't used to me not being around for you." I pulled out my phone and took her off the block list, sending her videos I thought I'd never need, then blocked her again. "We're divorced, Wendy. Understand?" She's not someone who easily gives in, but those videos were enough to break our ties. There was this odd look on her face after seeing what I sent, like she was frozen. "Please don't come looking for me again. It's unsettling for me." The pain from before had slowly faded away with time. Everyone moves on to a new life. Wendy should too. She can't keep thinking of Sam and come looking for me at the same time. The world doesn't work that way where she can have it all. I didn't stay home long. Left soon after. I heard about Wendy again when Sam hit her with a vase during a fight, landing her in a psych ward with just our marriage certificate. Even in Sam, she was looking for traces of me. Bob relayed this news with a sigh. We all thought Wendy only liked Sam, even Sam himself. Now she's hurt, Sam's gaining nothing, and her family might sue him. Bob asked if I'd consider giving Wendy another chance, to which I chuckled. "You think she's mentally ill? You gotta be kidding. We're better off like this, going our separate ways. Best never to meet again in this lifetime."